Each of these 9 required something previously considered settled to be corrected. New Caledonian crows manufacture and use tools to extract food from cavities, not unusual among corvids. The revision came from multi-step tool problems, when retrieving food requires first using a short tool to retrieve a longer tool that can then access the food. New Caledonian crows solve it without prior exposure to that specific configuration. In an 8-step version of the problem, individuals worked through each step in sequence. The cognitive operations involved were previously associated exclusively with great apes and humans. Wild populations transmit specific tool designs through social learning, producing regional traditions in tool shape that persist across generations. Cuttlefish are completely colorblind. They have a single type of photoreceptor and cannot distinguish between wavelengths in the standard sense. Yet they produce chromatic camouflage that matches the color of their backgrounds with documented accuracy. The proposed mechanism, their distinctive W-shaped pupils allow light at different wavelengths to focus at different focal depths simultaneously, a property of optics called chromatic aberration. By adjusting focus, the cuttlefish may extract color information from which depth reads is sharpest, rather than from wavelength comparison. The hypothesis is consistent with optical modeling and predicts the observed correlation between pupil shape and color discrimination accuracy across cephalopod species. Cymothoa exigua is a parasitic crustacean that enters fish through the gills as a juvenile, attaches to the base of the tongue, and severs the blood vessels until the tongue atrophies and detaches. The louse then attaches to the remaining stub and physically functions as a replacement tongue. The fish uses it to manipulate food during normal feeding, while the louse feeds on the fish's blood and mucus through the attachment point. It is the only known organism confirmed to functionally replace an organ in another animal's body. The host fish survives with the louse in place and lives a normal lifespan. The louse mates inside the fish's gill chamber. Female and male lice occupy the same host simultaneously. Frogfish produce the fastest confirmed strike of any vertebrate predator, rest to prey engulfed in approximately 6 milliseconds. The mouth expands to 12 times its resting volume during the strike, creating a pressure differential that draws water and prey inward simultaneously rather than the jaw physically closing on the prey. They walk on their pectoral fins and do not swim during ambush. Several species are among the most precise aggressive mimics documented. They are indistinguishable from the sponges they rest on, including the texture and the sponge's characteristic pumping motion. Prey fish approach frogfish and are consumed before completing the recognition response. A frogfish can eat prey larger than itself. Antarctic icefish are the only vertebrates that survive without hemoglobin. All 16 species in the family Cymothoa lost the hemoglobin gene during evolution in Antarctic waters, where increased oxygen dissolubility at low temperatures makes the protein unnecessary. They circulate oxygenated blood plasma directly. Compensating traits evolved: hearts proportionally 4 times larger than related species, blood vessels significantly wider in diameter, and blood volume 4 times greater per unit body mass. Their blood is transparent. They also lack myoglobin in muscle tissue. They function normally at temperatures lethal to virtually every other vertebrate. The loss of hemoglobin was previously thought impossible in any active vertebrate. Bowerbird construct elaborate structures called bowers for mating display, not for shelter or nesting. Satin bowerbird paint the bower walls using chewed plant pigment applied with a held wad of bark, making them among a very small number of non-human animals known to use tools to apply substances to a surface. Their collected objects are arranged in a gradient that creates forced perspective. When a female stands in the inspection position, objects appear uniformly scaled toward the male at the center, making him appear larger. The arrangement is specific to the female's viewpoint and does not hold from any other angle. Males that produce better calibrated forced perspective have higher reproductive success. The female inspects multiple bowers before choosing. Males steal objects from competitors. Stoats perform a sequence of erratic leaping, spinning, and rolling behavior in proximity to prey animals such as rabbits, documented by hunters and naturalists for centuries. Rabbits stop and watch the display and, critically, move closer. When a rabbit enters striking range, the stoat stops and kills it. The behavior has been filmed in controlled conditions with no prior contact between individual stoat and rabbit. Proposed explanations include triggering of predator inspection behavior that brings prey within range, induction of confusion, and involuntary approach driven by the novelty of the stimulus. None has been experimentally confirmed. Wild stoats have been filmed performing the display to audiences of multiple rabbits simultaneously. The behavior has also been observed when no prey is present. Geoducks are saltwater clams confirmed to ages exceeding 168 years via annual growth rings in the shell. Maximum recorded is 179 years. Shell growth effectively stops at approximately 15 years, meaning size is not an indicator of age. Geoducks show negligible biological senescence, their telomeres do not shorten with age, oxidative stress markers remain stable across their lifespan, and cellular mortality rates do not increase in older individuals. They display no symptoms of aging in any measurable biological parameter. The species effectively does not age once it reaches maturity. How it avoids the typical accumulation of cellular damage over 150+ years is not understood. African elephants communicate via infrasound calls below 20 Hz, inaudible to humans, that travel as seismic waves through the ground. Other elephants detect these signals through mechanoreceptors in their feet and in the fat pads of their legs. In controlled experiments, elephants stopped, shifted weight, and tilted their feet when exposed to ground-borne recordings of calls from specific known individuals, a response not triggered when only the airborne version of the same call was played. The seismic transmission range of a call exceeds its airborne range. Elephants have responded to recorded ground signals of other elephants they have not encountered in years, identifying specific individuals from seismic vibration alone. 9 findings that required the previous answer to be corrected. Tomorrow's animal makes this one look ordinary. This channel posts a new animal fact video every day, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.